You might have seen this guy, Pat Walls, from Starter Story on YouTube talk about how you can start a business from home, working 4 hours a day. Today I'm gonna break down his YouTube funnel and how he makes over $1 million manipulating your attention. Let's get right into it. So it all starts with an organic ad, which is an episode that he uploads on YouTube, which is usually an interview with some kind of founder of an app or a SaaS business. And this thumbnail, you can see they're very consistent. He shows you the person behind the app or the business. He also talks about service-based businesses, not just SaaS. But SaaS is definitely a topic that he covers a lot because it's a narrative on YouTube. It's a big topic. A lot of people want to start that. So he makes a lot of those interviews, but he has the founder and the app or the product that they built and then the number. And what this does is it makes you curious, how did somebody go from nothing to this outcome, right? How does this normal guy, in this case, it says he quit his job and now makes this much money. It naturally makes you think, how did he do that? And you can see there's no flashy lifestyle, there's no houses, cars, nothing like that. It's just a business, it's just an outcome that people are dreaming about, and it naturally makes them curious how to get there. So they click. Once they click, all of these episodes, they pretty much have the same structure, which is absolutely genius because he has the hook, which absolutely grabs people's attention and holds it for the entire episode. The way he does it is he shows a transformation. So somebody, in this case, I'm gonna break down this video right here. The app founder talks about his habit tracker. He says, I turned a simple habit tracker into 15K MRR business. Now this sounds already insane because there's tons of habit trackers. Most of them cost nothing, and this naturally makes you want to watch the video. But what he does is he says this guy had no idea. He didn't know where to start. He had to quit his job and he had only 12 months to figure it out. And then he changed everything. He first he failed, and then he changed the strategy. Then he went from basically nothing to building this app. And what this does is it creates an information gap, which makes you watch the rest. This is the transition part here, where he talks about what is coming up in the video. And you can see the important part is that he says that he too has failed, because if he said he just built it from day one completely successfully, that wouldn't do nearly as much as saying he did fail, but then he changed something and then he was able to do it. Because most people watching this, they have probably tried something before they have failed, and so this story resonates with them a lot. You can also see that it's built around the narrative, around the I had to give up this corporate job, and I had to I was a solid developer, and I had to all these things that people naturally think about when it comes to app world. So this is really doing a lot for his viewer retention, and so he just keeps people watching here like nobody else on YouTube. So he also asks, what this guy sells you is basically a collection of ideas on how to start a business. I'll talk about that in a second. It's a great business because it's not a course, and people don't blame him for promising some insane outcomes, which I'll talk about in a second. But he naturally asks people, how did you find this idea, right, in the interview? And so they will say, I had this problem where I wanted to, stay more organized or something like that. and I will tell the story how they came up with this product idea. And then there's a great part of storytelling as well, because he's asking people, what's your background? How did you come up with this? How did you get into development? How did you, what did you do before? And, what kind of job did you have? Where did you live? Where did you study? And stuff like that, which naturally creates a story. So once somebody has done something well in business, you naturally want to know what they are like as a person, what did they do before, how did they grow up and stuff like that. So that's really important. I talked about how failures make it interesting. The story would not be like this if he didn't fail. It wouldn't look realistic at all. And then he does a paid promotion of Zen business, which I think he's just better off promoting his own products, but whatever, maybe they paid him enough money. So it's just an offer basically to get set up with your business, and it's not really that interesting. So let's just keep analyzing. The next part is where you can see he delays questions about the business. He doesn't ask how did you take it to the market right away, even though people will be wondering about this right when they hear that he got 300,000 users for this app. The natural question here is, how did you get so many users? But he doesn't say it right away. He delays it for the second part, so you keep watching the video. And then he will talk about something obvious like App Store optimization, and people think, well, okay, if he did it that way, maybe somebody tried it already. They will be like, okay, what's the piece that I'm missing? It's once again, this is meant to make you hungry for information, and then it never really gives you enough information to do the actual thing. To do that, you need to buy the product, but in the video, it just keeps you buy it on the stuff that is interesting, and then next thing you know, you end up buying his course, his research, whatever. But that's how business works. There's no shame in that. So let's just, one more thing is that he naturally asks, somebody who found a great idea, it makes sense to ask, how did you validate it? How did you know that this is a product market fit? And people will say, how they did it, and it's gonna be a story on its own, but it's also gonna make people interested in doing it for themselves, because every idea is gonna be different. So if you have an idea for an app, you don't know how to validate it, you're probably gonna end up buying his research so that you can take a look at what people are doing, what's working right now. So this is a great pitch for the product. Then if we dive even deeper, we can see that he's gonna ask, how did you figure out the stack? What's the costs of running this business? What did you use to build it? And all of these things, right? He sells you case studies, which, let me just go to his website right here. He promises that you will see all of the breakdown of the business, how to run it, and how it operates. You'll have the full tech stack and everything. Right, that's what the case study is all about. He's promising that you'll have it all, like, just ready for you just to get started, right? So this is a very, very smart pitch, because people will think, okay, what do I need to start my own, and this is where he will eventually transition into, what's the last piece of advice that you would give. And somebody who has built something successful is obviously gonna say, just get going and just start building, and basically motivate people to do the same thing. And then he'll do the pitch for the starter story, which looks like this. It's actually an email which if you take a look here, once you sign up to this email, you'll get one new business ideas every single day for as long as you need. All right, as long as you don't get bored, you'll get emails like this one here. I'm gonna read it out to you because this guy knows how to do copywriting. It is truly a masterpiece. One thing I want to point out is it says 51 seconds to read, which, if you know email newsletters, the number one thing people get really bored with emails, and if it's a short one, it's good because people will read, they will not send it to junk. So basically, this is one of his emails that he sends out. It says, a few days ago I interviewed a guy who made this much from 3 mobile apps. Once again, it's a case study. I think he has it on his program, but what he does is basically tells you how you can build one with like Cursor and ChatGPT, and then at the end you can see there is a page. We open early access to the waitlist. So basically he drives you to this site where he is gonna sell you the full case study collection of like 4,000 businesses. And if you scroll down, it says this is the monthly plan. You can also go for the unlimited one, but it's $70 per month. And the way it works is once you get 10, 20, 30 of these emails right here, you just end up thinking about this every day, over and over. You get all these ideas of different people doing this successfully, and at some point you're gonna end up on this site and you're gonna be thinking, $70 is fair enough. And that's basically how he makes over 80K every month from his YouTube and a little bit of Twitter following. This is the full breakdown. This is how it works, okay? He takes you from content on YouTube to an email newsletter where he makes you think over and over every day about your business idea, and eventually you think, okay, I need to get started. But to get started, you would want to do some research and make sure that your idea has a place to be, so you end up buying his product. Now, this is probably one of the best funnels I have seen on YouTube. If you want to see more breakdown like this, if you want me to break down somebody else, let me know in the comments, and see you in the next one.